You already know the men who have it. That aura you can't quite name but recognize instantly. They walk into rooms and the energy shifts, not because they're loud or impressive or trying to dominate, because they're controlled. They don't react to disrespect. They don't chase validation. They don't explain themselves to people who didn't earn the explanation. And somehow, without effort, opportunities find them. Doors open for them. People lean in when they speak. Their silence carries more weight than the opinions of most men. You've been in the same room with them. You've felt it. That quiet aura that makes you subconsciously adjust your own posture. And here's what eats at you. You know you don't have it yet. You know there's something leaking from you in public that drains your power before you even open your mouth. You can feel it when someone dismisses you mid-sentence, when your opinions get ignored in meetings, when that woman gives you polite attention but never real interest. The gap between you and those men isn't talent. It's not intelligence. It's not even confidence. It's control over what you reveal in public. Seneca dedicated his life to teaching one iron law. Most men destroy their own power through behaviors so subtle they don't even register as mistakes. You think you're just being yourself. You're being catalogued, measured, weighed on the scales of priority, and after being found wanting, you are dismissed without a second thought. And the worst part, you're probably doing it right now, in ways you haven't even identified yet. 7 specific behaviors that bleed your presence dry while you're focused on everything else. These things may seem harmless, even normal, because other people do all the time. But Seneca, the man who turned Stoic philosophy into a weapon, knew these behaviors would quietly castrate your presence faster than any insult ever could. And here's what's going to mess with your head. By rule number 4, you're going to recognize something you most likely did last week that cost you your respect. I'm going to show you exactly how you lost without even knowing the game was being played. So strap in, you are in for a wisdom treat today. If you're watching this from anywhere in the United States, Miami, Chicago, Phoenix, Seattle, or anywhere in the world, drop your city in the comments right now. I want to see where this hits you tonight, because what I'm about to break down isn't ancient philosophy. It's the operating system for modern dominance in a world riddled with lies and manipulation. 1. Never complain in public. You're at dinner with colleagues. Someone asks how work's going, and you start venting. The project that's a mess, the client who won't respond, how tired you are, how stressed you've been. You think you're being real, building connections, but everyone at that table just recalibrated your value, because the moment you complain in public, you've announced something lethal. You don't have control, and you expect sympathy. Seneca watched men destroy their careers in Roman forums just by voicing their frustrations publicly, not because the frustrations weren't real, but because powerful people don't gather around weakness. They move away from it. When you complain, you're asking the world to feel sorry for you, and the world doesn't respect what it pities. Let that sink in. Your coworker complains about the same workload you handle. Now, when decisions are made, who do you think leadership trusts? The guy steady under pressure, or the one who broadcasts his frustrations and limits? Your pain isn't the problem. The broadcast is. Because once people hear you break through complaints, they file you under a desk drawer called "not built for the next level." This is why you need to handle your adversity in private. Fix it in silence. Let them wonder how you're still composed when everyone else is drowning. That mystery, that unshakable frame, that's what separates you from every other man in the room who thinks venting is therapy. It's not. It's career suicide dressed up as honesty. 2. Never show your insecurities. There's a difference between processing doubt and broadcasting it. Processing happens in private, with a mentor, a journal, your own mind. Broadcasting happens in public, when you are under pressure, when you are scared of embarrassing yourself, when all eyes are fixed on you. And that is what makes that trap easy for you to fall into. Every time you announce your limitations out loud, you're giving people permission to believe them. I'm not great at public speaking. Now they'll never ask you to present. I don't really know what I'm doing here. Now they'll never trust you with more responsibility. You're not being vulnerable. You're writing yourself out of opportunities before they even arrive. Epictetus was born a slave with a crippled leg, but he never behaved like his limitations. Never announced his doubts in the forums where he taught. He kept his internal struggles private and his external frame unbreakable. Why? Because uncertainty is contagious. The moment you voice it, everyone around you catches it. They start doubting you too. Say, I don't know if I can do this enough times, and people stop asking if you can. Say, I'm not confident about this, and they start looking for your replacement before you've even failed. Your insecurity is yours to manage, not theirs to absorb. You can be uncertain in private, work through it, strategize, adapt, but in public, lock it down. Let your posture say, I've got this, even when your mind is still figuring it out. Marcus Aurelius ran an empire while wrestling with anxiety and self-doubt. But he wrote those struggles in private journals, not public speeches. His soldiers didn't see the doubt. They saw the commander who never flinched. That's the play. Feel whatever you need to feel. Just don't advertise it to people who are measuring whether you're a threat or an obstacle. And here's where it gets sharp. Because by the time we hit Rule 5, you're going to understand exactly how Seneca stayed alive when everyone around him got executed. It comes down to one specific behavior, but we're not there yet. 3. Never broadcast your next move. You're at a party. Someone asks what you're working on, and you light up. You tell them about the business you're starting, the book you're writing, the investment you're about to make. You give them the timeline, the strategy, the whole vision. You think you're building hype. You're actually handing out ammunition. When you announce your plans publicly, two things happen immediately. First, people stop feeling urgency to support you. You're already celebrating, so clearly you're handling it. Second, your competition now knows exactly where you're headed and can quietly position to block you before you even start. Seneca didn't announce his influence until it was already cemented. He moved in the shadows, built power in silence. Let results do the talking when words would have been wasted. Every successful person you admire, they didn't post their vision on social media before it materialized. They moved quietly, tested privately, and revealed publicly only when it was too late for others to interfere. That's the iron rule. Announce nothing. Let your success be the announcement. When they ask what you're building, just working on something, we'll see how it goes. That vagueness isn't evasion. It's protection. Because the moment your plans are public, you've invited sabotage. Not from enemies, from people who smile at you while quietly hoping you stay exactly where you are. Move in silence. Let your wins surprise them. Make them scramble to understand what happened while you're already 3 moves ahead. 4. Never pick sides in a public fight. Drama erupts between 2 people in your circle. Maybe it's co-workers going at it in the group chat. Maybe it's friends airing grievances. Maybe it's some online controversy everyone's weighing in on. And there's this magnetic pull to declare where you stand, to publicly align yourself with one side. Resist it, because the moment you publicly back one person against another, you've traded neutrality for baggage. Their enemies now watch you. Their drama now includes you. And when the smoke clears, you're left with battle scars from a fight that gave you 0 strategic advantage. Seneca would watch Rome's elite tear each other apart in public forums, accusations flying, reputations burning. And he'd sit there, quiet, neutral, observing. Not because he didn't have opinions, but because revealing your allegiances before you have leverage is amateur hour. Let others expose themselves. Let them fight their petty battles while you watch, remember, and position yourself for when it actually matters. Most men think loyalty means shouting someone's name in public. Real loyalty is protecting their interests in private where it counts. Real strategy is staying neutral in public so no one can predict where you'll move when stakes are high. When drama erupts around you, be Switzerland. Observe everything. Commit to nothing. Let them burn their credibility fighting while you preserve yours by staying silent. And here's what most men miss. Every time you publicly pick a side, you're telling everyone exactly how to manipulate you. They know your values, your triggers, your alliances. You've just made yourself predictable. And predictable men get used, not respected. If you are seeing the wisdom in this message, subscribe right now. Don't trivialize ancient wisdom that took 2,000 years to reach you. Lock in. Because what's coming in the next 3 rules, that's where most men destroy themselves without ever knowing why. 5. Never chase attention in public. Walk into any bar, any networking event, any social gathering. You'll spot him immediately. The guy trying too hard, laughing too loud at jokes that aren't funny, jumping into every conversation, checking if people are watching when he tells a story. He's performing, and everyone can smell the desperation. Seneca understood something most men never learn. The moment people sense you need their attention, you're done. Because hunger for validation is the fastest way to become invisible. When you walk into a room trying to be noticed, you become furniture. Replaceable, forgettable. But when you enter calmly, controlled, and completely indifferent to whether anyone notices you, that creates gravity. The most powerful presence in any room isn't the loudest, it's the one who doesn't need the room. You're not performing for approval, you're not forcing laughs, you're engaged when it makes sense, withdrawn when it doesn't. And that selective attention, that controlled energy, it makes people lean toward you without understanding why. You become the anchor everyone else adjusts around unconsciously. Marcus Aurelius wrote this down privately. You always own the option of having no opinion. That's the frequency. You don't need to be the most interesting voice. You need to be the one voice people actually want to hear. And they'll only want to hear it if you're not desperately offering it every 5 seconds. Want influence? Stop chasing it. Stand still. Let curiosity do the work your ego would have ruined. 6. Never let them see you break. This is where most men lose everything, not through explosion, through micro cracks. Your voice gets defensive when challenged. Your jaw tightens when disrespected. Your posture shifts when someone questions you. You think no one notices. Everyone notices. Because pressure reveals character, and crowds are hunting for weakness even when they're smiling at you. Epictetus would tell his students, don't let your body betray what your mind refuses to surrender. When you're attacked publicly, insulted, cornered, these aren't random moments, they're tests. And the game isn't to win the argument, the game is to reveal nothing, no tension, no reaction, just steel-wrapped calm, not robotic, but controlled. You're in a meeting and someone tries to embarrass you with a question. Everyone's watching. The amateurs scramble for an answer, the powerful. They pause, hold eye contact, then respond with precision or deflect with ease. No flinch, no panic, just complete ownership of the moment. Because when people see that pressure doesn't touch you, you become something they can't categorize. And what they can't categorize, they respect. Last week you let someone see you sweat. Your tone changed, you got defensive, you explained too much too fast, and in that moment, you lost. Not because you were wrong, because you broke your frame. That crack is all they'll remember when they're deciding who to promote, who to trust, who to bet on. And this brings us to the final rule. The one Seneca used to outlast 3 different emperors while everyone around him died screaming. Most men violate this every single day. It's the reason you work hard, but respect stays just out of reach. 7. Never explain yourself to crowds. You make a decision. Someone questions it publicly. Could be your choice of career, your relationship, your investment, your lifestyle, and you feel that immediate urge to explain, to justify, to make them understand. Don't. Because the moment you scramble to explain yourself in public, you've surrendered everything. Seneca didn't defend his decisions to crowds. He'd make a move, face criticism, and respond with silence or a single redirect. Why? Because when you explain yourself, you're validating their right to judge you. You're handing them the frame. Now they own your narrative and you're reacting on their terms. The weak explain, the powerful let time clarify. When someone demands you justify yourself publicly, you have two moves. 1. Redirect. Interesting you see it that way. Then change topics. 2. Say nothing. Let your silence make them question their own certainty. Most men panic when questioned. They vomit paragraphs of defense. They list credentials. They seek validation. And in doing that, they prove they needed permission to begin with. Your decisions don't require public approval. Your existence doesn't need communal permission. If someone doesn't understand why you moved how you moved, that's not your problem to fix in front of an audience. Handle it privately if it matters. Ignore it publicly always, because the man who needs to be understood by everyone is controlled by everyone. Epictetus put it simply, if someone doesn't value your silence, they won't value your words. That's the standard. Stop explaining, stop defending, stop performing justification for people who wouldn't understand even if you broke it down for 3 hours. Your track record will speak. Your results will clarify, your consistency will vindicate, but your explanations in public, those just make you smaller. Here's what Seneca knew that most men die without ever finding out. Public space isn't neutral ground. Every room you walk into, every conversation you have, every social media post, you're being measured. People are cataloging your reactions, testing your frame, looking for cracks. And the moment you reveal weakness through any of these 7 behaviors, you've handed them the knife. The man in that boardroom meeting who said, "I'll handle it on Monday," he didn't get promoted because he was the smartest. He got promoted because when pressure hit, he revealed nothing. No panic, no excuses, no breakdown, just unshakable presence. That's what separates men who lead from men who follow. Not skill, not intelligence, frame control. Never complain in public, handle your pain privately. Never show insecurities, they become permanent labels. Never broadcast plans, let success be the announcement. Never pick public sides in drama, preserve your positioning. Never chase attention, let them come to you. Never let them see you break, absorb pressure like armor. Never explain yourself to crowds, let time do the talking. These aren't restrictions, they're liberation, because the man who masters what he reveals in public becomes untouchable in private. You want power? Control what you leak. You want respect? Become unreadable. You want influence? Make them work to understand you instead of handing them the manual. That's not manipulation, that's mastery. That's the difference between men who wonder why they're overlooked and men who walk into rooms and shift the temperature without saying a word. If you're still here, it means you're tougher from the guys who clicked away 15 minutes ago. It shows you are tired of exposing your intentions and weaknesses too cheaply and secretly being punished for it. If you're done being that man, drop a comment with which rule you've been breaking, and if you're man enough to admit where you've been leaking power, I want to hear it. This wisdom didn't survive 2,000 years by accident. It survived because men who applied it became unkillable. Now go become one of them.